Hello, everybody. Jim Malone here, coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. Sorry for the delay. We had a little bit of a delay, but check my audio, make sure that that's working good. Yes, it is. Excellent. So it is Monday. The market is pulling back once again. I was sold out of just about everything. Can't believe it. But I do have some spread trades that are doing good. So maybe that will work for some people. I do have some spread trades out there so that you can take a look at them. Just want to get into the slides and, hope everyone's doing well. I'm probably not going to be broadcasting on Thursday, Christmas Eve. Probably will take Christmas Eve off. So probably two more shows this week, and then probably won't be back probably until Monday of the next week. But I hope everyone is doing good. Well, the market direction has changed. We are still in a market trend under pressure. There was a lot of there's a lot of damage on some of the indexes today, and it looks kind of like we got to go back in the hole. It's sort of like Poxitani Phil. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's the groundhog, and I had to pull my head back in the ground today because it's not looking good. A lot of people are selling off towards the end of the year, taking profits when they can. So we're just kind of gonna have to wait. Santa Claus got lost on the way, and hopefully maybe he'll find his way next year. But I don't think there's going to be a Santa Claus rally this year. Just wanted to show you the indexes. We're off on the Dow, we're off on the S&P, we're off on the NASDAQ, we're off on the Russell, 444. So not looking, I wish we weren't off, but we are. So we got to take some kind of evasive actions here. We got to be very careful about initiating any new positions, specifically long positions. You got to be careful with the long positions out there right now. Just don't want to be in long positions. If you're watching on TikTok, just you can jump on over here to you can just click on the link and actually go to my profile, click on the link, and scroll all the way down. You'll be able to see the show live with the charts. So I just wanted to indicate that. I'm in only one thing right now, and that is Invitation Homes, and it is off. So there you go. It's kind of a it's a really, really mixed bag out there. We'll just try to get through it as best we can. But I do have some good news. I do have some good news, and those are my option plays. The option plays are looking pretty darn good. I have two bear put spreads and one bull call, and believe it or not, they're all working. This is the bear put spread on Citibank, and Citibank didn't do too well today, but fortunately, if we're in this bear put spread, we're looking pretty good because we're all the way, we're looking very, very good in this one. I'm just going to be probably holding this one a little bit, seeing if I may close this one early. I'm going to try to close it at about 50%, about $350. Did not close today, but it is looking fairly good. So hopefully we're going to keep in this one for a while, and it will work. Hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll work very well. And this is the Citi Bear Put spread. Currently we're up on this one. As we also did this bull call spread on Life Storage. This one's looking pretty good too. As you can see, it's zoomed right up here. We went basically from here up to here. Basically, this is one of the few areas in the market right now that seems to be doing well, and that is the storage area. And this is a bull call spread on it. It's looking very good. If we get up into this dark green area, we'll probably be closing early for this one, but it's looking pretty good. As you can see, we're right up here. If you're in this one, I hope you are in this one because this one is really doing well. I'm trying to come up with some more spreads because I'm pretty much out in terms of the physical shares, but I'm doing a lot of stuff with options right now, as that tends to be good in a kind of an environment like this, where it's a little bit more volatile. We just put this spread on Friday, and this is the square spread. This is basically on. They changed their name to Block, but this is a square spread. And as you can see, it has dropped tremendously. It dropped tremendously. And we're doing very well because obviously with a bull put spread, as the stock goes down, the value of the spread goes up. So that's looking pretty darn good there as well. So those are the three spreads. They're all in the green, which is great. And I'll be talking, of course, in the Discord. If you have any questions on that, I definitely will, try to answer them the best I can. I also am looking possibly at doing a bull spread on Zoom, because I do think that Zoom may have some issues, and that we might be able to benefit from that. So without further ado, thank you very much, everybody, for taking a look here, and hopefully it is going well for everybody out there. So first question, what about PLAB? Let's see if I can bring that up. Let's see if I can bring that up on the okay. Kind of rearranging things here. There we go. All right, that over here. Get that in there, and looking at PLAB. Okay. By the way, gold has started to move up a tad, and that is interesting because, we're seeing some pullback from the cryptos, but it seems like some of the gold may be coming on. So that would be very, very interesting. Phototronics, and it's an interesting business because it's a business that I'm somewhat familiar with, having been in Silicon Valley for a while. These photomasks typically are used, of course, to build, semiconductors. And this is a Phototronics. I do think I remember this years ago was a spinoff. I think it was a spinoff actually from Kodak, believe it or not. It's looking pretty good. It's above that 1457 buy point, relative strength of 95. This is looking good, but I'm a little leery in this market to commit that much capital, even though it does have a 100% checklist. So that is looking very, very good. Let's look at the pattern rec to see. Yeah, we're up 9 days. We're 18% above the pivot, so we're moving 2% above every day. I want to look at the fundamentals to see kind of what's going on. Boy, those are good fundamentals. Anytime you have sales that can increase 20% a quarter, now that isn't quite the case here, but anytime you can get 20% a quarter, that you're looking good. Now, they must have done something really well here because they're up. Their profits were up 230%. Now, what's the difference between fundamental and technical analysis? Well, with fundamental analysis, we're looking, kind of like the stuff that you learned in business school, and that is, what are the sales, what are the profits, that kind of thing. We're looking at that. So that's kind of our medium to longer term radar. The technical is sort of our short term radar that's going to show us when to get in and out of the issue. Nice double bottom here. You know what? You probably could buy this here, but here's my concern, and this is just a concern based on the strength of this market. This market is not very strong right now, and so a lot of times these early entries are getting punished. We're currently extended, as you can see. We're extended, unfortunately, and that is a problem. So I would probably not enter at this level, even though this has a terrific checklist. Look at this excellent checklist. This is definitely a watch list, but I just wouldn't enter it here, just because I just think it's very difficult. I just think this is a very difficult right now with this chart being this far extended. So this is a kind of concern that I do have. So I would not be entering this, but I would watch list this one definitely. I would definitely watch list this. So that's kind of my take on it. Let's look at SFM to see what we've got there. SFM. And Sprouts. This is a great market too, by the way. My girlfriend loves Sprouts. This is in a buy zone. I'm kind of liking this better. Oops, we gotta hang up there, I'm afraid, on that because we can't do it all at once. Um, it does look like, yeah, it does look very nice. We're moving right above that pivot. So this one does look possibly viable. It is not as good strong as checklist as Photonics, but at 67, that's pretty darn good. You possibly could buy this one. You could buy this one at the level. It is a cup with handle. It has pulled above the pivot, so you could buy this here. I just would be really careful though. But here's what I would do on this one. I think this is viable. Um, it's viable at this level. So I think you could definitely buy this one. But I would be somewhat careful. I would probably only go in with a half position. Now, what is a half position? Well, a half position, if you have a portfolio that's worth $8,000, you divide it by eight. You're going to get eight different eight kind of pizza slices. A half position is half of those, so it's about 1/16 of the value of your overall portfolio. And when you do that, you want to set your stop loss at 7% below where you come in. So that's how you can protect your portfolio. And that way you're only exposing about 2% of your overall portfolio. So it's a great way to go. Exchange let's see, your live answers. Encourage your viewers. Okay. Invite more. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Invite more friends. By the way, we're on YouTube. We're broadcasting right now on YouTube. All you have to do is go to my profile, click on the link, scroll all the way down, and you will see the stuff on that link. So thank you very much for that. Let's take the next question. All right. We have one more for Samuel. PLAB. Let's look at that really quick. Although we looked at PLAB, and it's a great stock. I just wouldn't buy it at this level, just because I think it's just a little extended. That's my concern. It's a great stock. It's definitely setting up, but it is currently extended. So let's see if we can get this. Okay, this biotech stock. Interesting. Currently, I would not buy this one. First of all, it's in a downward trend. You can see, even though it has moved up, it still hasn't reversed. I'm going to set a reversal line there, and that basically is so. Right now this is showing strength, but the question is, would we buy it here? I probably would not with the 29.67 checklist below the 200-day. I would pass on this one. I absolutely would, because of the weakness in the chart. So here's what I would do with this one. I just think you've got to, I think you just have to pass for now on HALO. So I really do think you got to pass, just because it's below that. Oops, that's not viable. I think we have to pass. Did I show that right? Yeah, pass for now on this one. And the reason it's a pass is because it's below the 200-day line. We don't want to buy them below the 200-day line if we can avoid it. Now, it's getting harder and harder to find things that are not below the 200-day line. So this is not an easy task. It is showing a nice reversal here, but the fact of the matter is it's got a 29 relative strength. So I would pass on this one. I would pass on this one for now. It's just not looking as strong as we'd like to see it. That's the main thing. It isn't looking as strong as we need it. Thank you. Is Cube way close to any pivot opportunity? Good question. Let's look at Cube. Cube is in a good area. CubeSmart is one of the REITs. Now, I do have the bull call spread on LSI, which is also it's also a storage REIT. This one is actually very, very close to being viable. So, there is a 64, there's a 5664 buy point, and I want to be real clear about that. And it's got a 100% checklist. So, yeah, there definitely is, there is an opportunity here. This is the first one I've seen that really has some good opportunity. But, Cube has a 5664 buy point and a 100% checklist. So it is viable right now. This is I'm glad you put this out there, because this is definitely viable out there right now. And, this has a 100% checklist. This one has a 100% checklist. It's had this very nice, it's got 94 relative strength. It's a blue dot, which means that it has had unusual, it has had powerful uptrend. On the pattern rec, we're basically right below the pivot. We're 1% below the pivot. That is an excellent place to buy it. It is a cup. Now, not all cups succeed, but it's it's a good pattern. I mean, it's a good pattern. Now, it's a cup. I think it's a cup 2. It's showing flat base, but on the weekly chart, and that's one you really got to look at. On the weekly chart, see, there you go. And I did have a position in there. That's because I'm showing it. I did sell it, but yeah, this is viable right now. This is viable right now. CubeSmart, and I think it would make an excellent addition, because it looks very, very good, very good. And and I tell you, right now there just aren't a whole lot of charts that are looking good. So there is a pivot opportunity. It's the pivot opportunity is right at 5664. So you could definitely do it right here, right now. So that's looking good, Samuel, and I think that's a good one. So I'm going to put that on my list. Kind of Cube is setting up. It's really tough to get stuff right now. There's not a lot of stuff that's setting up. And this is definitely one of the better ones. So fantastic! Thank you for that opportunity. AMTB. I may actually re-enter that one. That's kind of one that I would do. AMTB, and I may do that tomorrow. Bancor. Okay, banks are tough for me. I'm not great when it comes to the bank stocks. I'll be very much I'm very much in that category. But let's take a look at it anyways. There is a buy point right here at 28.11, and I want to kind of look to see kind of what the checklist looks like on this one. It's got a good checklist. 78 is a very good checklist. It's not. There are better checklists, 100% obviously being the best, but 78 is very, very respectable. 68 is my minimum typically. Where this is lagging is in sales and in earnings. Well, those are two important things. So let's look at the fundamentals. That's kind of what it's telling us to do there. Yeah, I don't like this action. Unless this is going to be acquired, I would be a little bit careful with this stock. And the reason why is we're seeing, we're not seeing those sales growth. We have a lot of profitability here. Now, I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something right. Oh, repurchase. That's why. Okay, makes sense. All right, so I guess they're repurchasing their stock. I don't know. For repurchases, I just think that it's better to probably pass on that. If they're repurchasing their stock, that means they don't know what to do to make a profit, so they're just going to buy their own stock. So I would pass on this bank stock. for now. I mean, it does have a good, it does have a fairly, it does have a fairly good chart, but eh, I just think, I just, I just think that right now, this bank chart doesn't really, it's extended, it's outside of the buy zone. I mean, yes, it does have some stuff going for it, but I just would not be a buyer of this one. It's just too far extended. As you can see, no, I wouldn't buy this one. So I would just pass on this one for right now, just because I think that it's got good numbers, but you just don't want to buy extended in this market. It's just too risky, absolutely too risky. All right. Good question about Tesla. What do you think about Lucid and Tesla? Let's look at Tesla first. I think Tesla, if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you know that I'm still very much of a Tesla bull. I don't own any Tesla right now, but I do think that we are starting to see Tesla get some support, hopefully, at the 900 level. Remember, I was talking about a week ago how this would be the first level of support here. Would be this would be this. It would be about 900, and indeed, we're right at that point right now. So I just think with this, we just have to give this stock time again to base out. So basically, my take on Tesla right now, and kind of painful to say this, but for Tesla, we need to it um, give it a chance to base before buying again. And that's kind of painful because we all want to we all like to to do it, but really we've got to give it we've got to give it time to base. And what do I mean by base? Well, what basing is that it'll come up and then it'll come down and then it will sort of then regather some steam, and then it forms a base. And the best way to buy, at least for CanSlim stocks, the best way to buy them is to buy them off of their bases as they're coming above their bases. And right now, that is not the case with Tesla. So I think Tesla, you just got to give it a break. It's not a good time to buy Tesla right now, and it's just tough. Now Lucid, I wouldn't be a buyer of Lucid right now either. Um, LCID is the symbol. Because it is in a downward trend, and we don't want to buy anything in a downward trend. That's not a good thing to do. We don't want to buy anything in a downward trend, and currently, Lucid is in a downward trend. So I would avoid Lucid. I would out of hand. I would just I would just avoid it. So avoid Lucid. I think you just got to avoid it until it has a better chart pattern. It's just it's just not a good it's just not a good time to be in it. It just isn't a good time. It's in a downward trend. So that's kind of my take on Lucid. All right, let's get back to some of the questions. Thank you. All right. One of my favorite stocks. Hello, Jim. Thanks for teachings. Any thoughts about TTD? Yeah, I wish I hadn't had to sell it, but I did because it started moving down. I may have to get more serious about TTD. Let's see. Let's pull it up. Yep, there we go. All right, these are my charts on TTD. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove some of my notes so that you can see kind of what the action is. There we go. All right. So unfortunately, we are below the pivot. We have pulled all the way back. A little bit of issues with bandwidth. And can we buy this thing? Well, it seems to be getting some support at the 40-day line. I'm a little bit skeptical, but if it's going to make a stand, it's going to make a stand here. So This is not necessarily a bad place to get back in. It's got an excellent checklist, as you can see. And I love this company. I love what they do. The fundamentals on this are very, very strong. I just want to kind of glance at the fundamentals. The problem is the technical action. It's not the fundamentals. The fundamentals on TTD are excellent. We've had some really excellent sales. And of course, anytime the sales almost correspond 1-to-1, if you notice, with the profit. So anytime sales are up with TTD, boy, the profits are up too. So would I buy it here? Well, I'd be tempted. I would be tempted to rebuy this here because I do think that it is getting strength. But this market is just so tough. I am tempted to rebuy this. I do really like this stock. I think it's very strong. I just don't like the market. That's my only thing. I really like TTD, but in this market environment, exercise caution. And it's just a really tough, it's just a super tough environment. Oops, caution. So I think with this, I really like TTD. I would love to go back into it. My biggest thing right now is that it's at a buy point, which is good. It's right at this buy point on the weekly chart, which is excellent. It seems to be getting some support at the 40-day line, which is excellent. The fundamentals say yes here. It's a very profitable company. The only thing I don't like about TTD right now is I just don't like the market action. I just don't like the market action for the overall market action, not for TTD. TTD is looking very good. So if you did buy it here, I would be very, very careful because and put the stops in very, very tight, because with this, I'm going to mark this down. This market could turn downward. I mean, we're already in a market under correction. So this could turn for the worse. And if you were in it, you would get, this is not what I'm saying, is that this is a very tough market to enter anything in. That's why I'm moving primarily to options plays, because of the liability. But I definitely like the stock. I think it's a great stock. I think this is a good entry point, especially if it gets support here. So, I think that if you went in with a small position, you might be very well rewarded. TTD is I think potentially one of the great stocks. You never know, but I think that it has that capability. Interesting. Okay, so this is This is an interesting company. I've heard of this company. I don't know a whole lot about it. Let's see if we even have a daily chart on this one. Yeah, this is the online. This is the online apparel company from South Korea, and it looks, I don't like the looks of this chart. I'll be honest with you. I don't like the look of this chart. We have a downward trending chart. I mean, I think that companies like this are great. Potentially are potentially excellent companies. But here's the one thing I just want to kind of put to your attention. This is one of the worst categories. 165 out of 197. It's in a downward trend. So I just think with this one, Roman, I just think you have to avoid it. I mean, it's not. You don't want to buy this one right now. So I would just avoid for now. I just think you got to be careful. So careful in this market. It's changed a lot. I mean, the way that this market has changed a lot in just the very, very, very very, very quickly. So you've got to be a lot more careful in this market entering anything. All right, we have a question on NVIDIA. from TikTok, let's take a look at NVIDIA. This is another great company, but it's not a good buy in the downward trend. So this is NVIDIA and kind of what we should do with NVIDIA. Now, if you're down more than if you're down more than about 6 or 7% on NVIDIA, I would close that position, only because this chart is starting to turn over. It's starting. This is a basing pattern. I think it will come back. The earnings have been excellent in this company, but there are a number of concerns that I have here right now in this chart pattern. Now, if we can get support, and that's the key, if we can get support at the 40-day line, then I think it's going to be a lot better. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is the 40-day line. Oops, see if I can. There we go. This is the 40-day line here, and it, hopefully we're going to get some support here. We did pull back today, but we are pulling up, so it does look like we have some support here. This is possibly a place where you could enter it. This is possibly a place where you could you could buy the shares, because it does look like it's getting some support. Not a great place to buy because it's extended. So, here's the thing. I just think, right now, in this market, it is a tough market to buy in. This is, NVIDIA is extended currently. But you could start a pilot position. I really like this stock, and I'll be honest. I probably am not going to buy it at this level, just because it's the end of the year. I want to, I want to be, I want to be rather careful, but I think you could buy here. I think you could buy here, and it wouldn't necessarily be a bad place now. But it is extended. You've got to understand that it is extended, and because it's extended, it has the danger of pulling back to the pivot. The pivot is 230.43. Currently, it's at 278. Now, it did get support here, so this, if it can show that it's bounced off the 40-day line, that's not a bad place to buy it. Well, that's not a bad place to buy it. Let's look at the technicals here to see. It's got a checklist of 89, which is just stellar. The only thing that is missing is that it's a little bit more than 15% off of its all-time high. That's great. By the way, that's one of your better. That's really, really good. On the pattern recognition, we're up 20%. This is why it's extended. It's up 20% off of in 41 days. That's the only reason it's extended, because it's up above that buy zone. That buy zone basically being only 5% from the pivot, up 5%. So there is danger in buying it at this level due to the fact that it is extended above that. But other than that, it's just looking very, very good. On the technicals, it's down a little bit today, about 1%, but it did firm up after hours, so that's looking good. It's down on the week, down on the month. And, so this is what I'm kind of worried about, but quarterly it's up. So it made almost all of its gains in the first 2 months of the fourth quarter. So this is up a phenomenal 112% year to date. Wow. If you had your whole portfolio in here, you would be singing, you would be dancing, singing. I gotta eat my own dog food here, because I've known about this stock for a long time. I've been in and out of it many times. This was one of my picks when it did the split. I've just got to be a little bit more patient. But this is not necessarily a bad time to get in. I'm just a little bit gun shy in this market, based on the fact that it is just a tough market to trade right now, as everything is being sold off. So it's a very, very tough market. It's a very, very tough market. Okay. Your thoughts on M and U. Okay, let's look at M. M is Macy's, of course, and that is has been one of the standouts, believe it or not, because you would think Macy's, wow, that's you would think why would that be a standout? Because it's a department store and it's like 100 years old. Why is that? Why is that exciting? Well, it was more exciting basically back in November, as you can see, and then we took a little bit of a slide here. So, can we buy Macy's? I would. No, it's not a good trend. There has been some selling, so I just think that right now we gotta be out of Macy's. We just can't. We just can't buy Macy's. So for now, um, for now, don't buy Macy's because it had a good run up until mid-November, but it seems to be pulling back. We're going to have with this COVID thing, we're going to have some problems probably with probably with the supply chain and it just it should have gotten support right here at the 40-day line. It didn't, and it's pulling back below that. So I just think you got to be. I don't think you can be in Macy's right now. It just doesn't look good for that. Just doesn't look good. All right. Okay. I don't know what that one is. I'll come back to that. GGPI. This is another one that I'm not as familiar with. GGPI. Let's take a look. GGP. Oh. A blank check company. Yeah, this is so last year. I'm going to say, yeah, avoid this. Really, really avoid this because blank checks you just don't know where they're going to invest in, and right now the market isn't treating these very, very well. So I would just avoid blank check companies. I just think you really have to because it's just these companies. I know that people did make money on these things, but don't buy Macy's and why did it do that? Okay, it should have said don't buy them. Yeah. So yeah, you just really got to avoid these blank check companies because they're just not. If you look at this, this is not what you want to see in a company. You don't want to see it. Move here and then come up and then way down. Just avoid it. It's just this is not going to be. This is probably not going to help. This is probably not going to come to anything good. So I think you got to avoid the blank check. I'm sorry to say that. I agree. The market. I agree. The market is the same in the UK. I am still buying, but yeah, this is good. This is good. No, it's not a crash. You're absolutely right, Peter, on this. Thank you for your comments, because the problem here is that right now, because there's so much uncertainty in the market, you just don't want to be too exposed. You don't want to be too exposed to the market. You want to be exposed. You want a minimal exposure. You want to kind of lighten up on your exposure. So I think that right now, just if you're going to buy something, try to buy the very best quality that you can at the best buy point that you can, and that's kind of the only reason that I'm going through and I'm saying things about these companies. Now, two companies that have come up so far that are worth looking at. I don't want to be negative because our Cube, which is in the REIT sector, this is looking good. Cube is looking good. Cube is definitely looking good. This is a good looking stock. This could be bought. Now, would I buy a whole lot of it? No, absolutely not. But I would consider buying this one just because it's setting up very, very nicely, and it's in a good sector. 38 out of 197. The finance property REITs are doing very, very well. I also, as you know, I have this bull spread. It's the only bull spread really that I have. I mean, I don't have, I don't have a lot, a lot of stuff on right now. And this one, and this is what I want to show you. This is the bull spread. This is a bull put spread on uh, Life Storage, LSI. And, LSI is in this Reit Group, and this Reit Group is doing very, very well. I mean, here's the chart for here's the chart for LSI, and look, it's just moving right up. Now it's extended, so I wouldn't buy the shares here, but I think you could very, very well do. You could probably do the spread. One of the advantages of doing an options trade on this is that it's not quite as sensitive to pivots as the share trade. So with this one, Life Storage, again, this is in the this is in the area of the of REITs. Now let's take a look. I've been talking REITs and everything, and it's time to show some REITs. Like, what am I talking about? Why is this a good group, and why do you want to possibly, if you're going to start to put your toe back in the water, why do you want to be in, why do you want to be in REITs? So let's go over to LSI, and I think it's going to show us here. There we go. Okay, so LSI is in the REIT group 38 out of 197. So if we go to 38, I want to get the rank properly. What I'm doing is I'm ranking all of the groups in the market to see where the capital is flowing. And I believe, nope, that's, let's see, I'll go back again. 38, is that right? No, I'm looking here to see where where it is at. Let me just take that look again. I need to write this down so I can remember it. It's amazing how bad my short-term memory is, but this is 38. 38. So if we go back over to 38, let's do that right now. Okay, we're in the industry groups. We want to go to number. We want to go to the industry group 38. Okay, 38. That should be, no, that's chemicals. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's not giving that, but it isn't. So, all right. So maybe I'm one off there. Okay, yeah, well, I am. That's the reason why. It's so simple. All right, so here we go. Hopefully we'll see it. Let us change it to 38. Okay, there we go. Oh, let's see if a little bit of lag on my system here. There we go. Okay, so 38. This is the REIT group. And we want to kind of look and see everything that's in this group. I want to kind of look, see the top stocks. The top stocks are currently, well, the Life Storage is showing up there, so that's good. Stag Industrial, Invitation Homes. I have Invitation Homes as well, interestingly enough. This is one of the only ones that I have. So this is potentially a group to look at. I'm going to look at Invitation Homes. This is the one stock right now that I currently have. Can you believe it? I'm down to one stock, and this is Invitation Homes. And I am in this one because it's right in the buy zone, and this one is in one of the top groups. So, boy, not a lot to buy, not a lot of stuff to buy out there. It's not a good time really to buy when the market is in correction like this. Not a good time to go long. So, boy, thank you for that, Peter. Appreciate it. SIMO. Let's take a look at that. SIMO. And see. Silicon Motion. Oh, this is an ADS. Okay, interesting. This is a Taiwan-based. Okay. Don't know a whole lot about this stock, I'll be honest. It came up very nicely above this pivot here. This is consolidation. It's extended, but just very slightly, not a lot. It's got 100% checklist. Wow, this is looking very good. This is a watch list. I probably wouldn't buy this one just because of the condition of the market, but I like this. This is a very good chart. This is a strong chart, and it's well worth it's well worth looking at. So here's the thing, Samuel. Thank you very much. You bring us some really good ones, I have to admit. this is a good chart. It's the only thing is I just probably would buy it just based on the fact that it's great chart, but I would watch list because of the market direction. And really, this is the overall market condition. This is not the condition, obviously, of this stock. This stock is a good stock, but this market condition right now is just not looking really good. And I want to show you the cues because this is really the text. This is what the cues key off of. And I was hoping today that we would get support at the 40-day line, but it didn't appear that's the case. It looks like it pulled below that. So, we just got to wait again to see if it's gonna reverse or it's going to continue lower. Now, very, very likely, if it falls lower than this, it's likely to test the 50-day line. So that very well could happen. And I sold all my QQQ today because of that, just because it was getting weak. So, right now, techs and the reason I use the QQQ is because this is a proxy for the Qs, because this is the proxy for techs, because many of the QQQs live in this in this index, and it's been pulling back. So, hopefully we're going to see the Qs get some support. I'm hoping at about 360. Hopefully before that, but right now it's just not looking as good as we like it. Part of the problem is that some very large tech stocks have been holding up the QQQ, and there just is not enough oomph. So be very, very careful. All right, PayPal. Let's look at it. PayPal might be a good short. I hadn't thought of it, but I've been looking at this thing, and it just looks to me like we might be putting a short on this one because of just kind of what's happening here. I mean, here's the thing with PayPal. It's below the 200-day line. Now, obviously, it's going to recover. I mean, PayPal is not going to go out of business anytime soon, but I'm looking at this weakness, and I think we could easily move. We could easily move down to the 160 level, and currently it's 183. So, this is just kind of looking like a stock that is moving lower with a relative strength of 14. I mean, their sales growth has been very good, and their profits are good, but I don't know where they've lost their way, but they have lost their way. So I did do this, I did do a bear call spread on Citibank, and that worked very, very well. Bear put spread on Citibank, and that worked very, very well. I probably would do a bear call spread on this one, and the reason is very simple, is that because the market is pulling back, there's a premium. We're paying a premium for puts right now, so I don't want to do that. I'd rather use the calls where we can possibly get some more. We can possibly get a better deal on them. But I'm looking at a bear call spread that's heavily in the money for PayPal. Yeah. So I may have that out for that. I may have that out. That's kind of the thing that I want to do, but I just would not be in PayPal right now. It just doesn't look very, very good. True. Is that TRUE? Thanks, Hassan. Let's look at this. True. TRUE. True Car. Ooh, this does not look good. This does not look good. Provides users to obtain market-based pricing. On no, this just doesn't look very good. This does not look very, very good. I'm looking here at the weekly chart. I'm looking here at the weekly chart, but it does not look good. Let's look at the checklist. I don't think. Yeah, this is a terrible checklist. Yeah, you just got to avoid this one. I'm afraid to say this is just not looking. This just is not looking good. So I would avoid TrueCar. Um, I think you need to avoid. You might want to use TrueCar, but I think you got to avoid their stock. I think you got to avoid their stock. Just does not look good. Does not look good. This is not a good chart, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. So, I think you have to be very careful with this one. So, I would avoid it. Avoid TrueCar, and let's go to. We did PayPal. Apple. Yeah, definitely want to do Apple because that is the bellwether of bellwethers. That's what's been holding up the Nasdaq. That's what's been holding up the QQQ has been Apple, and it's starting to show a little bit of a stress right now too. It's come down to the 21-day line, which is still good, by the way. I'm not ragging on it, but we definitely have lost support of the 10-day line. So here's the thing with this one. I would be setting my stop losses up right now on this. What I would do here is possibly set my stop loss up, to about 165. That's sort of where I put my stop loss. Let's see if I can delete that. I'd sort of put it here, and the reason I would is because I do think we're going to get some support. I do think we're going to get some support at the 21-day line. This is a very powerful stock, obviously. But, this is starting, when stocks like this are starting to test it there, then I think, there is some selling pressure, believe it or not, for Apple. But it's 100% checklist. I mean, if you're in the stock, stay in the stock. I'm not saying to get rid of the stock, but I wouldn't buy it at this level. Right now it's extended, but if you're in the stock, just stay in the stock. Push your stop losses up because I think it'd be very well rewarded because it's a great stock and I think it's potentially going to be even better. But right now it's not a good entry point for it. It's extended, so really the thing with Apple is you have to be careful because this is not Apple is extended, so this is not a great entry point. But if you are in, if you're in the stock, if you're in the stock, hold. You want to hold that one, definitely. It's just not a great entry. It's not a great entry because it's extended, and that's just the long and the short of it. So, Apple is extended, and how do why do I know that? Well, the last true pivot was this 153, and 160 was about the top of the buy zone, and since then it's been extended above that. So it's going to come down. It's probably going to test here at the 21-day line. Let's look over the weekly chart. But it's still a little bit, yeah, I wouldn't enter the stock, but boy, I wouldn't sell it either. What I would do, though, is I would push my stop loss up. I would push my stop loss up to about 165. That's where I'd have my stop loss set in Apple. It's a great stock. It's truly a great stock. All right, I think we're going to have like one or two more questions here, and then let's take a look. Oh, we have several. Okay, thanks, Roman. BRZE. Let's look at it. Boy, I don't know a lot about this one. This is a brand new stock. I guess this is an IPO. Just not really giving me much here. So really no opinion. No opinion on this one. Yes, it is. IPO. So really, here's the thing. Here's the thing I do with IPOs. I really don't like to buy an IPO until it's been out for probably 3 months at least. And the reason why is because we want to see how it's gonna trade. This one just basically came out of the door. I think it came out at 65. I hope that's right. And really, we're not seeing a whole lot here. So I just really don't have an opinion on it. I wouldn't probably be a buyer of this one. It just does not look like I'm going to buy it. So I wouldn't buy this one just because of that. I think there's better. I think there's better. I just think there's better merchandise out there. And right now, it's just you don't want to be putting on a lot of risk right now, just because this market is sort of tough to play. Tough to play. Usual volume. Oh, that's true. Well, yeah. The reason it's got an unusual volume, that's a good point. That's a very, very good point. The reason it's got an unusual volume is because it's an IPO. And when IPOs come out, that's when they typically have their most of their volume. But let's check. Yeah. It's in 130. So I would be careful. I wouldn't buy this one. I would not buy this one. All right. We talked a little bit about Apple. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You're very nice to say that. Very nice. Well, this helps me too because you bring up some very good stuff that I don't normally see. So, thank you very, very much for that comment. So appreciate it. All right, CYXT. Let's look at that. But okay, provides data set. Okay, it's okay. So this is another one. This is a little bit more interesting here, just because it's been out for a while. Let's look at the weekly chart. I always try to start the weekly chart because that kind of gives you a top view of it. Okay, well, yeah, we have very nice pivot, cup with handle. 1042 being the breakaway gap. Boy, that's nice. 67. That's not bad. Yeah, we're 13% above the pivot in 10 days. That's excellent. Gosh, the only thing, it's a little bit thin in terms. Typically, you want to see a stock that trades 1 million shares a day. So it's a little bit low, but that's not necessarily bad. This is another concern that I have is that it is 117. This computer software database hasn't been doing quite as well as we would like to see it, but the checklist is good. We're not profitable yet, so this is a true growth stock. Here's my concern. Here's my concern right now. Right now, because there is this potential that we're going to get interest rates that move up. If we do, that will hurt the growth stocks an awful lot. So I probably would take a pass on this one, at least for now. So thank you very much for that. I did get one out of here. By the way, to reiterate, everybody, there are several stocks that we possibly want to look at, and I just kind of want to reiterate that for everybody. The stocks that I like right now, even though I'm not buying them, I like TTD. And I like Cube. So those two I like. Those two stocks I like. Oops, there we go. Wrong thing. Those two stocks I like. So let's look at Cube again. This one, I do believe, is not a very exciting stock. I'll give you that. But I do like this action. I really like this action. I really like the just checklist. This is a defensive play, but boy, I think this one is good. So here's one that I definitely think is actionable right now, and that is Cube, CUBE. I think this is actionable. This is a potential buy here, and also I really do like TTD, the trade desk. I think that one is very actionable as well. It's not as good as Cube. I'd kind of hold on to this one, watch list this one a little bit. I do like it, but I it's not actionable as Cube. So right now, the most actionable symbol that I've seen right today is Cube. It's CUBE. So that is looking good. By the way, if you want to get on our action trade alerts and get the information that we're going to send out, I'm going to try to put together um, a, a, a bear call spread on PayPal, because that's what it's kind of looking like for me as the way to go. Um, so if you want to get access to that, you need to get on the action trade alerts. That you get that by going to www. Dallas Trading Floor. So I'll be back tomorrow. I'm probably not going to be here on Thursday. I'm definitely not going to be here on Friday, but I probably will be here tomorrow and on Wednesday. And thank you very, very much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure, and your questions are so excellent that I really, really enjoy them. I really enjoy doing the show. So until until tomorrow, happy trading, everybody. Hope everybody's well and getting ready for this holiday season. And I will see you back here tomorrow at 3:45 Central Time.